Badlands, explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, Russia, Russian, 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 the Russians. Russia,
Russia, Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots, their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. Chris, Patrick, how you boys doing?
Living the dream, my friend. Living the dream. Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way.
A little early for that, aren't we?
We're close.
He's just feeling it.
It's the season, man.
Well, yeah, Merry Christmas to you too, bro.
Make that Yuletide gay.
What?
I don't know. That says that in a Christmas song.
It does.
Guess I didn't realize that. But Chris, how are you doing?
That's actually the best Christmas song, to be honest. The horrors persist, but so do I. Just normal, you know?
I think my favorite Christmas song is the I'm Dreaming of White Christmas, the original one, sung by the Black Dudes.
Bing Crosby sang that.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Bing Crosby's white.
No, then that's not the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Hold on.
It might be a generational thing.
I'll find it.
Sung by the Black Dudes. What Black Dudes could you be talking about?
The original version, he said.
Well, it might not be the original.
There are a great many Black dudes who sing. It is known.
It is known.
Hold on. Well, now I gotta find this. But before I do that, I want to play Patrick, why don't we do our ads real quick?
Okay.
And then we got a Van Jones video. We're gonna talk Army Navy football. We're gonna talk a little bit more about Roger Ver because there's been another development with that PSYOP, whatever it is. We got Trump's defamation lawsuit.
We need to make sure to give everybody background on the Roger Ver stuff because it's a little bit it's a little esoteric.
We did like a 45 minutes to an hour on Wednesday show
about
it. So we can do a brief recap, but we won't go too in depth on that. We won't like play many of the clips or anything. But anyway, let's do the sponsors first, Patrick.
All right. Let's talk about our wonderful sponsor, A Bit of Whimsy. As the snow is falling, we are reminded that sweater weather is here and Christmas is right around the corner. A Bit of Whimsy, nestled in Iron River, Michigan, this season with their uniquely styled items. With a great lineup of sweaters to bundle up in, A Bit of Whimsy is making cold nights fun again. Each piece in our boutique is carefully chosen for its beauty and durability, highlighting the incredible skills of American artisans. Whether you're drawn to funky bohemian styles or sleek office-ready attire, A Bit of Whimsy offers something truly special for everyone. Our collection has a range of sizes from small to 3X, ensuring a perfect fit for your special someone. You can take pride in knowing you are supporting local artisans and the American craft community. Hey, gentlemen, we encourage you to consider a digital gift card from A Bit of Whimsy for your loved ones this Christmas. Visit the boutique online at badlandsmedia.tv/whimsy. That's WHIMSY, where every visit uncovers new treasures. Right now with promo code BADLANDS, you'll get 10% off at checkout. That's badlandsmedia.tv/whimsy. Promo code BADLANDS.
Awesome. Thank you, A Bit of Whimsy, for sponsoring today's show. We got one more sponsor, Patrick. You want to read Benson Honey Farms quick?
Bet I do. Merry Christmas from Mo Benson at Benson Honey Farms. To help you and your family celebrate this most wonderful time of the year, they have stocking stuffer bundles, holiday gift bundles, and their 32-ounce squeeze bottle is back. Their raw honey made from fresh clover nectar is light and mild with a sweetness that leaves you craving more. If you like a little heat with your honey, you're going to love their barbecue sauce when it comes to cleaning up all the sticky goodness. They have you covered with their goat's milk honey soap. Go check out BensonHoneyFarms.com right now before they sell out again, and use promo code DPH to get 15% off. That's BensonHoneyFarms.com, promo code DPH for 15% off. That's right, y'all. Get your honey.
Awesome. Get your honey. Awesome presents, stocking stuffers for this holiday season. By the way, this was the song I was talking about. It's by the Drifters.
Oh.
Maybe I'll close up the show with this for you guys.
Good call.
Yeah. Okay, I want to play this video first. This is I don't know if you guys saw this today, but this was amazing. Listen up, everybody.
How the hell did Trump figure out the mainstream media is the fringe, and the fringe is now the mainstream. How the hell did Donald Trump figure out? I mean, Joe Rogan is obvious, right? Like, we knew the guy had a big audience. It's not like we were like stunned, but like, how the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still like writes handwritten notes? How did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement. Look,
heading a cultural movement versus a campaign.
Every one of your people knows Elon. Listen. Yeah, so everybody keeps, I mean, the problem is you have a framework in your mind that how can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know how I know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
The popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime, and we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots.
You're totally right.
You know, that guy has been smarter than his colleagues for a while. If you go all the way back, James O'Keefe got that dude red-handed in like 2017 saying, yeah, this Russia crap, it's a nothing burger. Okay, I'm going to go catch my bus now or whatever. It was a very quick clip. Van Jones has been smarter than these retards for a very long time, and he knows.
He plays along though. Like he'll play along until it's, it doesn't matter anymore. And then he'll go with a comment like this. I thought the other guy was hilarious too, because he's the one who made the point like Donald Trump's an idiot. And then as Van Jones is like, yeah, he's not an idiot. He's like the smartest guy alive. Yeah. He goes like, oh, yep, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you after calling him an idiot.
Now, Vananon might be more intelligent than his peers on CNN and MSNBC.
It's not saying much.
Did something happen to me or did something happen to Patrick? Oh, because the whole thing was frozen and Patrick's face was like, and it was funny on my end.
I do that from time to time.
Darn. Well, wait a second. So he might be smarter than all them, but for the last for the last 8 years, we've still heard him say that everybody's beating Donald Trump at all times, and he's going to go down for this or that, and he really did commit this or that crime. I mean, he can't be that smart.
Well, homeboy got to get paid.
He cries a lot.
I appreciate that too.
On TV?
Yeah, he's cried a few times. Here, I'll find it while you guys keep going.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. This represents like a media shift. I don't know if they're doing it because they're just trying to be honest now, or if they're doing it because I don't know, they're just that full of shit. Like whatever their motive is for this shift, it's interesting. But it comes on the heels or on the same day as Trump getting $15 million from the defamation lawsuit. Did you guys see that today?
I heard about it. I'm blown away here. They settled because they didn't want freaking Stephanopoulos to get grilled during depositions. They settled to avoid discovery, basically.
That's what it sounds like to me.
From Zero Hedge. ABC to pay Trump $15 million for defamation, issue apology. ABC News and star anchor George Stephanopoulos have reached a settlement with Donald Trump for $15 million after Stephanopoulos asserted that Trump was found liable for rape in a civil case while interviewing Representative Nancy Mace, Republican of South Carolina, last March. After the network played a clip of Mace discussing being a victim of rape, Stephanopoulos asked, quote, "How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump with the testimony we just saw? You've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Judges and 2 separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape," end quote. The host continued referring to the case brought by Trump accuser E. Jean Carroll. During his contentious discussion with Mace, Stephanopoulos repeated the claim 10 times, despite the fact that a jury only found Trump liable for sexual abuse, which under New York law is distinctly different from rape.
Sorry, just keep reading down to the part where they call him a pissy little midget.
You got it, bro. Quote, after the federal jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse but not rape, Judge Lewis Kaplan wrote in a later ruling that just because Carroll failed to prove rape within the meaning of the New York penal law does not mean that she failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her, as many people commonly understand the word rape.
It's insane.
The settlement was publicly filed on Saturday, revealing that the two parties have come to an agreement and avoided a costly trial. According to the settlement, ABC News will pay $15 million as a charitable contribution to a presidential foundation and museum to be established by or for plaintiff, as presidents of the United States of America have established in the past. Additionally, the network will pay $1 million in Trump's attorney fees. Fox News. After Trump sued for defamation, Stephanopoulos was a pissy little midget, telling CBS late night host Stephen Colbert that he wouldn't be cowed out of doing my job because of a threat. Fox notes further, Trump sued me because I used the word rape, even though a judge said that's in fact what did happen. We filed a motion to dismiss. Yeah, this is shitty. I hate this.
Yeah, I think it's almost a cop-out that he's only having to pay the $50 million to a foundation and not Trump himself. That seems like a cop-out to me.
I'm sure there's tax purposes involved, but the main thing is that how the hell do you find anybody liable for an event for which there is absolutely no evidence took place?
That's insane.
I bet really this was done just on her word. It was done on the word of a crazy bitch who almost certainly got the entire story from an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
I think the standard for the jury as well, wasn't it that like 50% of them had to agree that there was, or they had to agree that there was better than a 50% chance that she was telling the truth?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Yeah, because that's not the standard either. It's a preponderance of the evidence. And all we need to know is what exactly is the evidence?
There's no evidence.
Oh, wait, no, it's just the word of a crazy old bitch.
Is this the first time, though, that Trump has successfully sued the media for defamation?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, that's notable to me as well, because I feel like there's so many times he could have sued them for defamation over the past 4 to 8 years.
Defamation's so hard to prove and have it decided in your favor, and I think that that's probably with good reason. So, I mean, it really is very interesting that he didn't even have to win a defamation case. He just had to make it so that they had a strong chance of having to go to trial and kind of open things up. And that was enough right there.
Pretty funny. It'll be nice to see him do it over and over again. We need to see these people drummed out of business. Trump promised us back in 2018, in 6 years, these mainstream media maggots will be gone. So I know that I'm date fagging. You're not supposed to do it, but Donald Trump, can you please make sure that they're gone by the 6-year deadline? Thanks.
Here, I got this video, Chris. I won't play it.
Van, what are your thoughts? It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Tell them the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people.
I forgot about this.
If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. It's a vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. There was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know. And you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you. And you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and go back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spend so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters. I just want my sons to look at this. Look at this. It's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around. And this is a good day for this country. I'm sorry for the people who lost. For them, it's not a good day. But for a whole lot of people, it's a good day.
Wow.
He's such a fucking faggot, dude.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
There's one more video because we can see him. That was when he cries out of happiness and I guess relief.
Be people tomorrow.
Is this him out of sadness?
I think so.
Okay. We're going to be handing clothes at the dry cleaners to people who don't have papers. There's going to be people who are going to be cleaning your teeth tomorrow who don't have papers. And they're terrified tonight. And so it's easy to blow this off. Oh, look at the elites. They're going to get their comeuppance. It's not the elite that's going to pay the price. It's people who woke up this morning with a dream and are going to bed with a nightmare. And those people deserve to be respected and held and talked to. Those are the people who are going to pay the price for whatever Donald Trump decides to do.
There was no crying in there.
Oh, well. And by the way, Van Jones, I don't really care about Jose hanging out, doing the lawn, working his ass off. I care about your unprotected borders being used as a way to traffic slaves into this country for the Democrats' rich-ass donors. If you don't mind, we'd at least like to check their IDs as they come in. Is that all right with you, dickhead? All right, I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah.
All right. Did you guys get a chance to watch the Army-Navy game today?
I saw some of the highlights of the entrance and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, so you're gonna have to walk me through it. But I know it took place today, and the Army-Navy game is a big deal to me, especially when it comes to devolution because of what happened in 2020, like who was in attendance, who rode with him on the plane or the helicopter to the game, and then what happened in the immediate aftermath. And so I could walk us through a little bit. Most people should be pretty familiar with this, but
yeah, why don't you walk us through about 90 minutes of it, and then we will just put it in, Patrick and I will, on Monday evening. That'll just be our entire episode of Hindsight 2020, and then we'll get a night off.
And this is important in the context of devolution, because the Army-Navy game, if I understand correct, if I remember correctly, it's when Trump sat with Ratcliffe when the interference in our election report was supposed to come out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's speculation, but we know that Ratcliffe went on a plane with Trump or on the helicopter. And here, let me share this screen. This is from like part 16, and I brought it up in part 7 or 8 as well. But then on top of this, I got to pull up one more thing here quick. Here's the pool report from, here we go. Check out who else is on the helicopter with them. We have Mark Meadows and his wife, I guess, but Dan Scavino, John McEntee, Dina Ratcliffe, and then Kash Patel and Chris Miller. And Andrew Giuliani was at the departure terminal. So these are all some huge names of devolution. And then the very next day after that all took place, we have this. So Trump is spending time with these guys, some of the key players in devolution. And then on December 13th, Patrick, if you want to read this quick.
Swing states that have found massive voter fraud, which is all of them, cannot legally certify these votes as complete and correct without committing a severely punishable crime. Everybody knows that dead people, below age people, illegal immigrants, fake signatures, prisoners, and many others voted illegally. Also, machine glitches, another word for fraud, ballot harvesting, non-resident voters, fake ballots, stuffing the ballot box, votes for pay, roughed up Republican poll watchers, and sometimes even more votes than people voting took place in Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and elsewhere. In all swing state cases, there are far more votes than are necessary to win the state and the election itself. Therefore, votes cannot be certified. This election is under protest.
Pretty powerful words from a president. So I don't know what for sure happened at that Army-Navy football game in 2020, but there was probably some discussions about the election, and those guys being there and these series of tweets coming in the immediate aftermath, I think it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I want to know who Trump's going to the game with this time. Does he have a particular crew with him?
Yeah, he took like the entire fantasy team and some of the Power Rangers. Like everybody that's been on TV for the last month was there.
Yeah, it was pretty well.
Except for RFK Jr. But wait, John, let's talk a little bit about 2020, though. Go ahead, Patrick. Finish your.
Does it in any way matter who won the game?
No, but Navy did.
Navy won? Okay.
Yeah, they were the underdogs too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Army was like 11-1 and ranked 19th in the nation, or 22nd in one of the other polls.
And Navy like smoked them, like 31-13.
Damn.
Yeah. So, John, we were watching. You and I were kind of texting back and forth while watching the some of the video from 2020 at the Army Navy game. Trump went out and he did the coin toss at the beginning of the game. He had Chris Miller on his side. He had Mark Milley, Ryan McCarthy. Is it McConneville or McConnville?
Not sure.
I think there were like 4 guys with M names right next to him at the 50-yard line, and then a couple others along with him. Donald Trump went out there without the mask on, which was kind of a stark difference between him and everyone else. He ended up. Did you see that moment, John, when they were dancing in the crowd and Trump was like just right there in the middle of them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think the thing that stood out for me the most was the mask thing. Like, he's surrounded by military people all in masks, and he's just like, fuck it.
Yeah. I have the flyover video, and I can probably find some more video if we want to take a look at today.
I have one as well. I thought this was kind of interesting too. Like, here, let me play this, and we'll play the flyover. Notice how Trump is saluting.
Yeah.
In this video, he's technically not commander-in-chief based on the narrative, right? Not yet anyway. But he's saluting, which that's a presidential thing to do. So I found that interesting, but we'll play this.
That is very interesting.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know the rules on that. I don't think we've had a president that was president, left, and then came back to be president again. And if you're allowed to salute the troops after you've been president when you're no longer considered the commander-in-chief. But yeah, that was an interesting move on his part.
So in the United States, the following people salute and how they do it during the national anthem. Uniformed military personnel, members of the armed forces in uniform are required to render a hand salute during the national anthem as per military customs. Veterans, according to the National Defense Authorization Act of 2008 and its amendment in 2009, veterans and active duty military personnel not in uniform may also render a military style hand salute during the national anthem. And then non-military individuals are expected to place their right hand over their heart, and children are expected to place their right hand over their heart. So non-military individuals are expected not to salute like that.
Yeah, I know. I think it was Ronald Reagan who was the first president to start responding to salutes with salutes anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, it's notable.
It definitely is notable. You know, last week, I think that Donald Trump kind of showed himself to be king of the world, or at least the undisputed leader of the quote unquote West, if not the world. And this week he went and rung the bell to open the stock market. Kind of, this is me in charge of the American economy. And here he goes in and gets welcomed as the commander-in-chief and acts as the commander-in-chief. The first ever president-elect to attend an Army Navy game was Donald Trump in 2016. And now he's the second. And I was talking about this on my show yesterday, and people could easily just say, well, these are just these events. He's attending these events. That's not what it is. There's nothing official about him being presented this way. But to me, it's obvious that these events are happening for the optics. So what do the optics say? Because the optics are the meaning. You don't need to find what the official meaning of these events are. These events exist so that Donald Trump can be presented this way to the public. Last week it was to the world, Thursday at the stock market, it was to the American business community. And now he's here in front of a mostly military audience, saluting as commander-in-chief, being greeted as commander-in-chief, while there's some president out there that no one has any idea who that is. Apparently, Mike Lee, the senator, the other day, by the way. Sorry, John. Okay. And Elon responded to him, kind of highlighting it on Twitter. Mike Lee was like, who's president right now?
Yep. They've been doing that. There's a few times. It's like once a week almost Elon Musk will respond like that. But have we ever seen a president-elect get received publicly like this, as if he's already the president? Like any time in history? I mean, even in 2016, was he going around the world and like meeting with world leaders like this, or getting this kind of reception at the Army-Navy game, or this kind of publicity? Was he going to the stock exchange in 2016? Was he doing any of this stuff?
He went to the Army-Navy game, stock exchange. I think he might have also done that too. You guys might know better than me. When did he do kind of the world tour that, people call the submission tour? When did he go around?
He was president.
2017. Yeah, right. He was president. I wasn't doubting that. But that was pretty early on for him to be treated that way. So we're talking about the most powerful leaders in the world. We're expecting that Donald Trump, never in politics before, he's just in there for the first time. He and his people have established virtually no relations whatsoever with all these other countries. And then he's still treated that way by the most powerful leaders in the world anyway.
But I'm saying before inauguration.
Sure, I know.
Yeah.
To be treated this way before the inauguration, especially after everything we think that happened in 2020 and the way that Biden has completely fell off the face of the earth, it makes it that much more interesting. Like, it's like we're not even waiting till inauguration. He's basically just president again now, and the public has accepted it.
Yeah. And, Biden fell off the face of the earth and Jim Carrey comes out of retirement. It's crazy how that works. But anyway, the other thing is that tour, the sword dance tour, took place on May 20th, 2017. And if memory serves me correctly, it's like a few days after he fired Comey.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting. You think those two things are correlated?
Well, I think they are. I know that they're correlated. I just don't know if there's any causative relationship between them.
Yeah, that's notable. Do you have that flyover video, Chris?
Yeah.
I'll share your screen, pull that up.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna grab a quick water. Throat is killing me.
After you get yours, I'll get mine.
Okay, BRB.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it, dude. Flyover.
And for the first time in 7 years, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy on the line to whoever wins this one between Navy and number 22 Army. From West Point, here come the Black Knights. With the Apache helicopters overhead. And from only about 25 miles away in Annapolis, the midshipmen of Navy, here they come. The Super Hornet flyover. And we're getting closer to kickoff. Welcome, everybody.
So that's cool, you know. There was also some interesting uniform stuff. And by the way, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy goes to the team that wins the most out of the schools connected to the military branches. And Navy won their 17th today, beating Army 31-13. John, you're muted.
All right. What do you mean won the most? Or
so there's like Army, Navy, and Air Force, and it just says wins the most games in a college football series among the 3 U.S. military academies.
Interesting.
So I guess Navy must have beaten both Army and Air Force, and that gives them the 2 wins. I don't know.
But so they get the President's Trophy when
Commander-in-Chief's trophy.
Commander-in-Chief's trophy when Trump is there.
I guess
that is baller. And this is the other thing you had sent over.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy because they highlighted Guantanamo Bay in this kind of troops watching around the world feature. And everybody kind of interpreted that that nameplate there as hangman letters.
And also, of course, you know, I'm sure it's been mentioned on the Wednesday edition or some other edition, but dancing to YMCA may be symbolic of Guantanamo.
Yeah, we talked about that last night on the Liberty Den, and I am not even close to all in just because there are 12,000 YMCA locations in the world right now, let alone how many have existed over the course of history. I can't imagine that him playing the YMCA is to like be in tribute of a random Guantanamo Bay YMCA from 1918.
Well, maybe you can't imagine it, but I can imagine.
Yeah, I also can, because that would be absolutely hilarious if he was taunting people.
Beyond hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to stay at the YMCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, George Stephanopoulos, did he really delete his Twitter account?
No idea.
Would you have done that today?
Well, let me just share my screen right quick. I'm one of those people who gets stuff wrong. So I'm going to show it to you before I pull a Zerlina. Look at that. Chuck Colesto sharing it. You know, he's like all reputable and shit.
Yeah.
It's G. Stephanopoulos. I don't know. I'm just one of those people.
I'm looking to see here.
That could be right. What a weird thing I mean, unless he's worried that he's defamed people a whole lot more than just that one time.
I really like it. If
Yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
Is it really?
Yeah, because his anchor producer for George Stephanopoulos, and it's not there anymore.
This account doesn't exist. Dude, I really hope he's at the YMCA.
Which location?
Oh, Guantanamo Bay.
Well, they don't have one anymore.
No, they do too.
I don't think they do.
I'm good. I don't accept that.
They don't have a YMCA there anymore?
I don't think so. It was people found a picture of a YMCA there from 1918, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is why Trump's been playing the YMCA."
Wait a second, though. So, if the building was a YMCA there 100 years ago, and it's still used for something now, then it kind of still counts, right?
Yep.
Like that would be the old YMCA building down in Guantanamo Bay.
It's the YMCA.
I don't know if it's there. We could find that out.
Maybe.
Weren't they expanding and doing all sorts of renovations that were supposed to be ready like this year?
They're still expanding. I think it goes into like 2030s.
Oh wow.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, they're definitely still expanding. It hasn't been shut down. Yeah. Actually, I haven't checked on that in a while.
I hope whoever's there is having fun staying there.
The Village people are from 1918, says Jefferson 33 in chat. So I don't know what that means. How can the Village people be from 1918? They're from the 1970s.
I think he was probably joking.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I'm confused too, Zerlina.
Anyway, yeah, but that's cool. The game looked like fun. I would love to go to one of those games one of these days, one of these years. But a lot of presidential comms coming out of the game and from Trump himself, and it's all notable. But anyway, anything else on this topic? Otherwise, we could. I kind of want to talk about a different president, the one from South Korea, because he finally got impeached. Did you guys see that?
Okay, so is their system when somebody is impeached, they have to stand trial before the Senate?
I don't think so.
I mean, we basically own that country, so
No
their
shit,
system
yeah.
is probably very similar.
Okay, so from Zero Hedge, South Korean president impeached over martial law turmoil. President Yoon Suk Yeol of South Korea was impeached by a National Assembly vote on Saturday, suspending him from office after he declared a brief emergency martial law earlier this month. The move sparked widespread outrage and plunged the nation into a constitutional crisis. Now, the Constitutional Court must decide whether to reinstate Yoon or formally remove him, a process that could take 180 days. The National Assembly voted to impeach Yoon with 204 lawmakers in the 300-member House in favor of the motion and 85 against. 8 votes were declared invalid, while 3 lawmakers abstained from voting. How is a vote? What is that? Was there a hanging Chad? How do you declare a vote invalid in the assembly? Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. But it's weird because they tried to vote him out last Saturday, and it didn't work. And now it did work, but it's up to the courts whether or not he can stay in power. I don't know. There's something weird going on over there with this whole thing. And it's while, I mean, Trump and the Kim Jong-un story, that narrative is always kind of lingering, you know? And with Trump coming back into power, this is one of those things where we have a South Korean president who is potentially out the door. What does that mean for relations between North Korea and South Korea with Trump coming back into office?
I mean,
I don't know, but Kim Jong-un is about to look smarter and smarter with time. This guy's a freaking survivor.
Yeah. I expect Totar win. He ever since his summer Instagram bromance with Vladimir Putin, I have assumed that the situation over there is following a pattern that I think we can pretty readily detect in other parts of the world at this point. And that's that maps that were drawn by the global regime after World War I and World War II are being, the lines there are being erased, and they're all being redrawn as they were before, maybe sometimes with a little extra chunk here and there. But we have continued a proxy war with Korea for like 80 years officially. Officially, like World War II, I don't think is technically over, and the Korean War is not technically over either. Did you know? I don't know if I showed this video on Devolution last week, by the way. But there was some TikTok video that this guy made, and it turns out he's right. In any situation, in a declared emergency situation or war by South Korea, which is 100% just a proxy state, the U.S. actually gets to take over their military and run their country. You're muted again, John.
You have a video for this? Sorry, I keep coughing, so I keep
I think I can probably find it if you give me a second. Yeah,
you should. Can you repeat what you said one more time?
So the claim is, and I can bring up something more technical, or Patrick can hammer his keyboard into oblivion and make Chat GPT do it. But we can actually, in a state of emergency or war in South Korea, the American military can essentially take over South Korea and run it according to, whatever treaty or law. Yeah.
I really think that all goes to this rules-based international order that was established at some point in the past. And this rules-based means it's not force-based. Nobody's allowed to engage in military conquest anymore, except for us. Fuck y'all. But the rules-based international order says, all right, the rules are in place. Everything's peaceful as long as everybody does what we say. And that includes Korea, and pretty much every single nation that has been put under the stranglehold of the United States dollar.
Yeah. So I'm looking for one more story here too. 'Cause I could have swore I saw something where Trump and Zelensky were talking about making peace.
I think I sent you that this morning, and they're
was it you who sent me that?
Their meeting with Biden too is, according to reports at least.
Where's that at? I don't see it.
In text, I think.
Hold for processing.
Man.
Oh, yep. No, you didn't send me that.
Really?
You sent me the pen thing.
Oh, I'll go ahead and find that, and then I'll find the other thing.
Well, the other thing's not as important. I think I'm more curious to hear about the Ukraine thing, because that was one of the things that Trump said is, when I get elected, I'm going to end this peace thing, or end this war. We're going to have peace in Ukraine and Russia before I even take office. And the story, wherever I saw it from, I don't know if this is it that you sent here, but that's one of those things. I even got a text from somebody I hadn't heard from in a long time. This guy, and he's like, "Do you think Trump's actually going to make peace with Ukraine before he gets inaugurated? Like, can he even do that?"
Well, yeah.
From NBC News. Trump team in talks with Biden and Ukrainian officials about ending war with Russia. Trump's advisors and cabinet nominees have yet to present any specifics of a plan to Ukraine, sources said. Here we go again with the sources.
Yep.
President-elect Donald Trump's national security team has held discussions with the White House and Ukrainian leaders as part of a concerted effort to find a way to end the war with Russia. Multiple sources with knowledge of the matter told NBC News. Trump's advisors and cabinet nominees, who hold a range of views on Ukraine, have yet to present a conceptual or specific peace plan to Kyiv. The sources said the president-elect has vowed to end the conflict even before he is inaugurated next month, calling the casualties suffered on both sides a tragedy. But he has sent mixed signals in his public comments, urging Russia to make peace, but also suggesting he might scale back U.S. military aid to Ukraine or reimpose limits on Kyiv's use of American-made long-range missiles against targets inside Russia. Despite President Trump's promises to end the war quickly, it remains unclear whether he can persuade Russian President Vladimir Putin to halt the fighting as Moscow's forces gain ground in eastern Ukraine. It is also not clear if Trump's team has communicated with Putin's government about Ukraine, and if so, what has been conveyed by either side. You're still muted, John.
Sorry. It's also curious that we have Russia gaining ground, it looks like, over there. And so I'm wondering if they're just trying to get to whatever part of the ground that they want. You know what I mean? Like, get as much of the territory as they want according to the peace plan. And that's when they're going to declare peace. Like, they don't have it all mapped out yet. You know what I mean?
I would assume that all of that is already locked in place and probably has been for 2.5 years, and that the borders are in those places, and that we're just being told about them in this ridiculous way so that we don't freak out that the world changed all at once.
Very possible, and probably the exact scenario.
I mean, I look at this Syria thing. I don't know if we've talked about that, the three of us. There's this Bashar al-Assad 5 C's plan, and there's a picture of it. Ghost put a picture of this up the other day, and I was just, you know, you look at maps sometimes, and I think looking at maps is a lot of fun, because so much of how this stuff actually does work has to do with geography and the lines, the transport routes, and how resources travel around the world, and sales routes and whatever else. And I don't think we pay enough attention to that stuff. But if you look at this 5 C's plan, and I'll see if I can, yep, here we go. Look at how the veins of this, these trade routes, well, I think these are pipeline routes, but they're trying to basically connect all of the trade and resource transport between these 5 C's. And if you look at the part where all this stuff is going on, like this here part of Lebanon and this part of Syria, these are the contested areas that are being taken over up to Damascus here and southern Lebanon, southwestern Syria. This is where Israel's talking about taking over and having their land. And it just so happens to border along this, right? So right here at Aqaba, going out along this line, this would be the Ben Gurion Canal. I think that's right about where that is. There's good reason to believe, at least from the perspective of some of the people in the Middle East, that a Palestinian state has already been set up. And so when people were fleeing Gaza, it was right down here. And you would think then that perhaps if there were to be a second state, a two-state solution there, and I think that might be where we're going, that it would be probably in this area, and so it seems like if you want to maintain peace in a region, you would give the countries on either side of this trade route equal responsibility in maintaining the trade route, which causes cooperation and a mutual interest in keeping things stable. And, the other countries, the region seem to be on board with some peace plan. I don't think it's a coincidence that Turkey and Russia and Iran were meeting on the same day that supposedly Assad was overthrown by gay terrorists. And now we have, Israel taking over these lands.
So Palestine's getting their own land now?
Well, I mean, there have been communications from Saudi and other places that recognize, I think even the UN recognizes Palestine as a state.
Yeah. I didn't realize they were getting, there was discussions of them getting a different spot of land.
I think that has to be part of the peace plan. I can't imagine that some substantial amount of land wouldn't go along with that, and that people would just, the rest of the region would just accept that as some sort of concession to Israel. But, of course, a lot of people think that Israel's actually trying to take over that whole crescent and create the Greater Israel Project there. I don't know. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but it doesn't seem like that's where it's going.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this stuff, it's what is going to take place before Trump gets in there, because I think there are certain things that work towards Trump's actual plans that need to take place before he gets in there. In the Middle East, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know what the F is going on over there anymore, and I've never even tried to admit that I have understood that situation. But the overthrow of Assad and how that went down, and him fleeing to Russia, and we believe Russia's part of the Sovereign Alliance, and all these things, it's just not up to snuff, especially with the bombing of all the ISIS stuff in the immediate aftermath. There was foreknowledge there for that to happen. I don't know. It's just something's off with this whole situation.
Yeah.
I think there might be something to be said about the recent explosion of information about the USS Liberty attack back during the 6 Days War. Not that it's new information, but that all of a sudden it is allowed to trend like crazy, not just on X, but also on YouTube. The Candace Owens video, her interview with the gentleman who was there, went completely viral, and laughably, Candace says, well, I titled my video A Personal Story instead of USS Liberty, so the YouTube algorithm wasn't able to catch it, and that's why it went viral. When in fact, the algorithm listens to every single word and insta-bans anything that's forbidden. So the fact that it went viral means the algorithm itself is letting it go viral. So I think factoring in is an important thing to factor in my opinion, is the recent allowance by the blob to have this USS Liberty story, a story of horrifying treachery by the state of Israel and our own government to go viral. I just don't know where to place it in any of this.
You don't know what the motive is?
I never do. I keep trying to, but no, I have no idea why the blob would let that go, unless maybe good guys have seized control of the blob, or maybe the good guys have been in control of the blob this whole time, and it's just a matter of information dissemination.
Yeah.
If what I'm suggesting is potentially correct, and the same sort of thing is happening with Russia, Ukraine, another proxy state that had all sorts of territory that wasn't a Ukraine until the regime made it, that territory is going to have to be divided up somehow. And maybe there remains a Ukraine afterward. I don't know or really care. But if your whole game was the destabilization of certain regions and the overthrow of governments and the takeover of massive plots of resource-rich land, then you would want to keep narratives going that would lead toward that destabilization and maintain that destabilization. And I think that maybe we're just getting the stories from the global regime media that make all of these things sound like these catastrophic disasters when they're really just the power players in this situation moving forward with the emergence of this multipolar world order and dividing up the land that has been re-seized from this global regime.
I like that approach. And you got to think that's bound to happen at some point if we're right about what we think is happening in the world. And so it's just a matter of how it takes place and when, and the story we're told about it actually taking place. And that fits, man.
Well, the story we're being told doesn't leave any good guys, particularly not the ones that we were told had to be the good guys for our entire lives. And so that is one thing that's really important. You know, it's not going to be easy to fool people again with this stuff. You mentioned, not to track back too far into this, but we were talking about Trump's kind of coming back and serving as commander in chief again. I mean, if we're right about devolution, in an important way, that doesn't have to happen. You know, the reality would be that he's already executing whatever role as soon as he needs to step into it, and that we'll be shown a story that makes us okay with how it's gone. And I think that we're probably just looking at the same thing in terms of these war narratives. And then the funny thing, and I'll get off my soapbox after this, but Elon shared this meme yesterday, and I know it's just a meme, and I know it could potentially mean other things other than the way I'm interpreting it, but he's essentially calling these wars fake here.
Oh, I love this meme.
I love this meme. Elon Musk on Twitter posting a picture of flying saucers over a city with the supreme leader of Iran riding it. Everyone, please stop creating fake narratives for war. Government.
Well, that kind of ties into, because I wanted to talk about the drone situation a little bit tonight, because it's gone so viral, and the government is so quiet about it. It just makes it worse because they either don't know what's going on or don't want to admit what's going on. And let me
well, who's the government and how could they admit anything?
That's a great question. But let's read this real quick, Patrick.
Certainly. From Fox News, Biden administration officials downplay concerns about drone sightings. Slight overreaction. Officials downplayed concerns while admitting the drones are still being investigated. U.S. national security officials sought to dispel concerns about the mysterious drones flying over the Northeast in a recent call with reporters, one going as far as describing nationwide uneasiness as a slight overreaction. The call, attended by Fox News Digital Saturday, was hosted by senior Biden administration officials, including representatives from the FBI, the FAA, the NSC, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense. The senior officials remained tight-lipped about the origins of the drones, which are still being investigated. The mysterious aircraft were first spotted flying above northern New Jersey in mid-November and have been repeatedly seen by thousands of residents over the past few weeks.
That's good. It's just funny. Like, anytime I've ever told somebody, I think you're overreacting, things have only gotten worse for me from there. Like, that's never something you want to say to somebody. And here's our government being like, you guys are just overreacting about these drones.
Maybe they should tell us to calm down. I hear that's really effective.
One. That's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know what these fucking drones are, dude. Nobody knows what these drones are. Everybody's positing theories. all over the place. Dude, it's another sky circle. It's probably just going to disappear like the sky circle did.
But what's the motive behind them then? You know what I mean? I don't know about the sky circle story, but this is a weird one. Cliff High, I talk to him now and then. He messaged me, I gotta say it was like 6 months ago or something. And he's like, towards the end of the year, we're gonna see a lot of chatter about aliens and UFOs. And here we are, and everybody's like, what are these alien UFO drones flying around? How come nobody knows what these are? Why are we still investigating them? So, I mean, take that for what it is, or whatever. But it's interesting. And our government playing dumb, or actually not knowing what these are, whichever government is the government, by the Biden administration not knowing what these are. Maybe this is Trump's government trying to sniff out nuclear material on the coast ahead of the inauguration. Like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on, but it's weird.
I love these stories because the fact that they are unanswerable and have everybody's attention means that people are going to spin themselves out about every possible conspiracy theory that they think could never, ever happen. Like, so much chatter just happens and so many theories are presented that everybody eventually has to admit that they don't know what the hell is going on. And that, their reliance on the experts to repeat whatever slogans come out makes them sound like idiots.
I put a link in there. Scott Adams really likes this theory. I haven't listened to it, but I really like Scott Adams because I'm a basic bitch. Damn, it's 9 minutes and 2 seconds. I didn't know that. Let's put it at 5 times speed or something. You're muted, John.
Damn, I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, we'll listen to this just because the very based and vaxxed Scott Adams said we should.
Hey, everyone. My name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military-grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast. And as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay. We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And
I've seen that in a movie. Isn't that Some of All Fears, and the guy dies of poison or whatever?
I think you're right. It's also the beginning of, I want to say, season 2 of 24.
Yeah, wow. Radiation poison, I'm pretty sure. But okay, it sounds like he's going where they're sniffing for nuclear bombs, but let's listen a little bit longer.
Yeah.
He knew that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay. That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay. Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that came up missing here in the United States. And they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air. at night, unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines.
I think I've heard enough.
Okay.
But it sounds like where he's going is they're sniffing for nuclear material. Like that's how I preface the whole thing. And I've heard, this isn't the first time I've heard that theory. I've seen that on Twitter a few times now. That's an interesting one, if that is the actual motivation behind it, because the response we're getting from our government is about what you would expect it to be. They're not going to admit that they're looking for nuclear weapons. And if it's not even the Biden administration doing it, they have no idea. Like if it's the Trump team, the continuity government team, whatever, devolution team, and they're searching for nuclear material, the Biden administration is not going to know. So it fits the story we're getting told.
The Biden administration hasn't known anything, it seems, for about 4 years.
Yep.
Elon and Trump are both joking about it on Twitter and Truth Social. I mean, Donald Trump, the president, posted that. So, I mean, he's not saying, I'm sure, that Chris Christie is a fat pig or anything like that, because he would never do that. But, I mean, look at him.
That's hilarious.
It's beautiful. There's an even better tweet that somebody put out with a picture. It was a picture of Barron standing over Trump and said, "Father, tell Gronk to make a picture of that fat slob Chris Christie having drones deliver fries to him." Perfect. Now post it on X. It was beautiful.
Did you retweet that?
No.
I think he sent it to us.
I put it in the chat, in our private chat.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Where did I put that? Oh, I have it right here. Hang on. You're going to be able to get it faster than I ever could, John.
Well, I'm trying to find it on Twitter, but yeah, I can.
It's in our super secret friend chat.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay.
Just give me a second. I got to save it to the show. But yeah, if there's any other theories on the drone stuff, I don't know what the hell's going on, but
how big are they?
Don't know. And they're getting shot down, and people are like, the government is saying we're not supposed to go look at them, or authorities are being told not to go look at the drones when they get shot down. Like, why would that be the case?
Are they getting shut down?
I don't know. Some have allegedly been shot down or crashed.
Apparently, hold on. Let me just make sure I can get I get this right. I'm going to be responsible.
I'm going to assume that this picture is doctored, but I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Here we are. Look at old Hochul, the governor who was appointed and then reelected in New York's fake elections. So this is I believe Newburgh Airport, Stewart International Airport. Yeah. So that's like, I don't know, an hour and a half north of New York City, up the New York State Thruway. Closing down an airport, though, is
airport is completely shut down.
Well, let's go through it.
You got it. From the New York Post, the mysterious drones that have been plaguing the skies over the Northeast shut down the runways of Stewart International Airport Friday night, prompting Governor Hochul to demand the feds step in. This has gone too far, Hochul said in a terse statement Saturday, in which she noted the runway of the Orange County facility was shut down for an hour because of the unidentified aircraft. Stewart Airport services both commercial and military flights and is adjacent to a New York Air National Guard base where the 105th Airlift Wing is stationed.
Seems relevant.
It does.
Where was the Army-Navy football game?
It was like 20 minutes from Annapolis, Maryland. I think it was outside of Philadelphia somewhere.
Because we had one boost for tonight's show, and I'm going to read this real quick. It's from Slade 5:20, and it's topical. I find it interesting that there was a military football game with flyovers happening as normal, while 3 hours away, there are mysterious drones hovering over New Jersey for the last month. And it kind of fits in with the story, too. Like, they're doing flyovers, and it's not that far on the East Coast from where the drones are.
Yeah.
The unidentified drones, which have been hovering over New Jersey for nearly a month and have been seen in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts, were also recently spotted flying over LaGuardia International Airport and Newark Liberty International Airport. The runways were closed at 9:40 p.m., quote, following a report from the FAA about a drone sighting at the airport, according to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which operates Stewart. Okay, so they were shut down for an hour.
Oh.
I was off in how distant the game was. The game was in Landover, Maryland, and that's about 130 miles from Philly. But more, if you went there directly in the air, it would be shorter than that.
How far from where the drones are? New Jersey-ish.
Well, that would be even further north from there. Hold on.
Yeah, just curious. Not a big deal, but
okay, 1 second.
And listen to this. This is Alejandro Mayorkas. And this is what he said about the drones.
President-elect Donald Trump, he just called on the Biden administration for you guys to either release any information it has about these mysterious drone sightings or shoot the drones out of the sky. How do you respond to the president-elect?
Well, first of all, the statements I've made already are the principal message that I want to communicate to the American public. We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat. Secondly, we have gone to Congress repeatedly asking for more authority to counter drone activity. And we have also asked for more authority to give to the state and local officials under our supervision, because it correctly notes those authorities need to be expanded.
I want to play something another New Jersey congressman, the Republican Jeff Van Drew, said about the drones over his state in New Jersey. Listen to this.
We're not being told the truth. They are dealing with the American public like we're stupid. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it's about. They haven't taken one down to analyze it. They have no idea where it comes from, but they know that it's not that. I mean, that's nonsense. They do not know what they're doing. Why don't they take one of them down, analyze it, and let us know what's really happening?
What do you say to the congressman?
Well, first of all, we have experts, and he should not diminish the extent of their expertise and the extent of their dedication to the well-being of the American people. These are individuals who dedicate their careers to the safety and security of the United States of America, number one. Number two, it's not as though anyone can just take down a drone in the sky. That in and of itself would be dangerous.
Do you have the authority to shoot down drones?
Our authorities are very limited. That is precisely why we have gone to Congress to expand those authorities. Our authorities are limited by the United States Coast Guard in the maritime environment, the United States Secret Service in its protection of our national leaders, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection with respect to the border. We have various authorities that are discrete to the particular missions. We can't just shoot a drone out of the sky.
But do you know for sure these are drones or unmanned aircraft? What are they?
We believe that there are cases of mistaken identity where drones are actually small aircraft and people are misidentifying them. There very well may be drones in the sky, of course, but those are commercially available. One can go into a convenience store and buy a small drone. There are also commercial drones as well. But we know of no threat or nefarious activity. And I want to repeat, Wolf, that if we learn of any cause for concern, we will be transparent in our communication of it.
We know that some of these drones, whether in the Middle East or Ukraine, have weapons, have missiles attached to these drones. Wouldn't it be smart to at least get a look at these drones to see if they are armed?
Wolf, there is no question that technology has advanced in the realm of drones. They can fly farther, they can fly faster, they can carry heavier payloads. Our authorities need to keep up with the technological advances. The chairman of the Homeland Security Committee in the House of Representatives, Mark Green, has argued for and advocated for that expansion of authorities. So has Congressman Pfluger. We agree with that advocacy, and we have sought increased authorities.
As you know, it's causing a lot of concern. Mr. Secretary.
I'm here to calm those.
It's Congress's fault. We need more authorities to take these drones down. What the hell?
Oh, holy shit. Okay. let's just start with the fact that he's lying and he's horrible and he's the Department of Homeland Security and saying with a straight face, no, we're not allowed to do jack shit if we see a drone. Okay, so all that's a lie. And he knows it's a lie, and he knows we know it's a lie. He's going to keep lying. What I'm most interested in is his demeanor during that conversation. Can we get a comparison? Because the guy's very obviously quite agitated, in my opinion. And I like seeing him agitated. But the whole notion that they need more authority to find out what the fuck that thing in the sky is, we can't do jack shit. We're just sitting here on the ground because Congress won't let us look at a drone. That's just disgusting.
It's an excuse. It's a bullshit one. So for whatever reason,
is it a bullshit one though? I mean,
well, maybe
how
not.
much power do they? How much power do they have?
Well, the excuse that it's Congress's fault is a bullshit one. I don't believe that for a second.
Well, I mean,
I
just
believe
be trying to pass the buck in that case. Yeah.
I believe they can't shoot it down. I think that's legit, but it's not because Congress.
Okay.
It's for whatever reason they do not have the power authority to shut that down. And the fact that Trump and Elon and all those guys are like making fun of it makes it more of the case that it's like they know what's going on.
Also, Jeff Van Drew was appointed by Trump to lead his New Jersey campaign. So take that into account, because the story's coming from Jeff Van Drew, who said it was an Iranian mothership that brought these drones over. So all of that seems a little silly. Is it possible that we've all just been hoodwinked and that there are no drones and that we're just getting these reports and people are making up stories?
What would the motive be for that?
Who knows what the motive is? I mean, to preempt another psyop, something that's planned to happen up in the sky. You know, what was the motive for the Sky Circle event? I can't tell you what the motive is, but
okay. In an info war, the biggest weapon is falsehood. So it's like, why shoot at people during a hot war? Why lie to them during an info war? But I have absolutely no idea. I do appreciate the shoot down the balloon, says Donald Trump, February 3rd, 2023. God, I love that guy. But the main thing is I hadn't really sat here thinking, do we know anybody who's seen one of these freaking drones? Now, Scott Adams said he thought he saw one, then he realized it was just an airplane. And he was sure it was a drone at first.
Where's he
Today,
at?
a picture, sorry.
Pleasanton, California.
Go ahead.
A picture of a star with a camera zoomed in, filming a star. What went viral today? Like, what is that?
That is
I want to find that.
Light in the firmament, twinkling due to the waters above.
Was it this thing here?
Probably. Yeah.
Now, when things like this are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Bentham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be. But this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to experts who might be able to sort out what they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee there's so many people looking up and making those recordings because this mystery is one that needs to be solved. For now, we're live here in Mendham Borough. Tony, it's Channel 7 Eyewitness.
That was the video sped up that way. I did not speed it up. So, but anyway, yeah, that's weird.
I mean, maybe that's not a star, by the way.
Maybe for sure. It's definitely 100% with no doubt a star.
Okay.
Period. That's what they look like when you zoom in on them. Always. As a flat earther, I have done this myself.
So.
Oh, what the hell?
I know. It's wonderful. I am so excited to see them be that retarded. But they just don't know. They don't know what stars actually look like because they're relying on NASA. And NASA just sends them paintings telling them that they're pictures of the sky.
It's pretty funny that they've put this story out, that Jeff Van Drew put this story out. Now the drones are this major phenomenon that everyone's talking about. And if they are made up from whole cloth, it's a great opportunity to make the other side and the media and all these people look like they're retarded and incompetent and have no power whatsoever. So I see an advantage there in an InfoWar sense. And I would suggest that things like that have happened a whole bunch of times over the last few years.
Yeah, I know Jordan Sather's been doing quite a few debunks. Like some are planes, some are old videos. But I do want to play this one.
I just found 3 mystery drones in the air.
One looks like a plane.
It's wild.
That's weird.
That was moving quick. What in the world is happening? What? Update, but that mystery drone up there is still there. It's been like maybe 10-15 minutes. It's still there. I just found 3.
Yeah, so I don't know. But Mayorkas needs more authority from Congress to get rid of them. So sorry, guys.
I would love to do it. At some time, I'll do a comparison to other interviews with Mayorkas. Does he always act like that? Because I've never paid much attention to the little bastard. But if he always acts like that, then fine. But he seemed quite agitated, like in a state of deep fight or flight.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we can move past the drone story. I do want to get into the Roger Ver topic a little bit because we could probably end with this topic depending on how long it takes. Unless there's anything else you guys want to get onto.
Should we just take a look at the Trump posts on Grinnell and Nunes?
Oh yeah, we can do that. Here's one, Patrick.
Donald Trump on Truth Social. I am pleased to announce Richard Allen Grinnell as our presidential envoy for special missions. Rick will work in some of the hottest spots around the world, including Venezuela and North Korea. In my first term, Rick was the United States ambassador to Germany, acting director of national intelligence and presidential envoy for Kosovo-Serbia negotiations. Previously, he spent 8 years inside the United Nations Security Council working with North Korea and developments in numerous other countries. Rick has a BA from Evangel College and an MPA from Harvard. Rick will continue to fight for peace through strength and always put America first. Congratulations, Rick.
I like this one. I was wondering where he would get a role because he was super good for Trump in the first term. And he's one of the guys who went overseas, I think back to Kosovo during Trump's absence while Biden was in office to negotiate some things. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And while he was acting director of national intelligence, I'm pretty sure he was the one responsible for declassifying some stuff for Michael Flynn. Wasn't that him?
Mm.
So yeah, this is a great pick and position for him to be in. And it's interesting the countries he's going to be working on that were specifically named were Venezuela and North Korea. That's kind of funny too.
When did he send him? When did Grinnell go to Kosovo? And how come nobody screamed Logan Act?
Well, let me find it.
Because Trump is behaving as president and nobody is screaming Logan Act. Nobody. What is the deal?
He's been doing it for a couple of years too.
Yeah.
And Grinnell's been doing it. I mean, it was 2021 or 2022, I think. What do we have? November 20. Oh, that's May. Sorry.
Oh, look
Trump
at that.
Shadow diplomacy deploys ambassador to address Serbia-Kosovo tensions.
Right after the beginning of the special military operation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Wait.
Foreign policy mission on behalf of former president.
This says May 11th, 2021. So that was well before. That's an update.
Updated. Okay, my bad. November 11th, 2021. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Trump said in a statement, Grinnell was there to promote an economic normalization agreement his administration brokered in 2020. Just right off the bat. He's sending Grinnell there to do freaking United States government shit.
Yep. This is after he's out of office too. It's kind of weird. We had Pence going to Israel. We had Pompeo going to Japan multiple times. I think we had O'Brien in Israel. And
Pompeo
I think
to Taiwan, right?
Oh, Pompeo to Taiwan. That's what it was. Yeah. And O'Brien to Taiwan as well. There's a couple times, a couple guys went to Taiwan. So yeah, this is not new. I think this is the only time Grinnell did it, but still notable.
Very super duper notable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then we got this one. We have Devin Nunes.
Ah, yes. Donald Trump on Truth Social. I am pleased to announce that I will appoint Truth Social CEO Devin Nunes as chairman of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, which consists of distinguished citizens from outside of the federal government, while continuing his leadership of Trump Media and Technology Group. Devin will draw on his experience as former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and his key role in exposing the Russia hoax to provide me with independent assessments of the effectiveness and propriety of the U.S. intelligence community's activities. Congratulations, Devin.
I was wondering where Devin would get placed as well. Him being so involved with the Russiagate stuff on the Gang of Eight or whatever as he was, working with Kash Patel, and then being the head of Truth Social for a few years and in the wine industry, whatever relevance that has. Big winery guy. And then yeah, I figured he'd get some role in the administration. Was wondering where, and here we go. He's the chairman of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board.
That is really interesting that he's going to be doing that and continuing in his role at DJT.
Yeah.
Because he would be, you know, there would be a private citizen in there with oversight in some sense of the intelligence community.
That's a really interesting title for a board, because isn't his Intelligence Advisory Board the National Security Council?
Well, he has a couple, but this is, well, let's read what they do here.
Okay. The President's Intelligence Advisory Board, PIAB, is an advisory body to the Executive Office of the President of the United States. According to its self-description, it, quote, provides advice to the President concerning the quality and adequacy of intelligence collection, of analysis and estimates, of counterintelligence, and of other intelligence activities. The PIAB, through its Intelligence Oversight Board, IOB, also advises the President on the legality of foreign intelligence activities. It was established in 1956, and that was, I guess, would have been towards the end of Eisenhower's first term.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff here. I was just looking at it. Like Obama, when he was in there, he fired a bunch of people. Where's that at? Right here. In August of 2013, it was reported that the membership of the IOB had been reduced from 14 to 4 under President Barack Obama, possibly starting in early May at the beginning of 2013 mass surveillance disclosures by Edward Snowden. Then I wanted to see who was on Trump's first time around. Steve Feinberg.
He's there again. Well, he's somewhere in the administration again.
Yeah. Safra Katz. Oracle.
Damn. Yeah. She's the current CEO of Oracle now, right?
Yep.
And Saxby Chambliss, he must be 1,000 years old. Isn't he like an old guard Republican senator?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is his first time. But the Safra Katz one is notable because I'm pretty sure when Ezra went... Okay, this is even more interesting now because this is the board that gives advice about the collection of intelligence, right, to the president. When Ezra left the NSC, he went to Oracle, which seemed super random, but Safra Katz, the CEO of Oracle, was on the board. So maybe that's a way for him to feed the intelligence. I don't know.
You know, I think it's notable that it was started by Eisenhower, who was very clear. This whole military-industrial complex is a problem. He waited, of course, until he was out the door before he said something about it. But maybe the establishment of such a thing was perhaps designed as a counterbalance against the intelligence community having already kind of taken over the real powers of the president.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to do a little more research on this.
It's a very cool thing that he sticks Nunes in this position, because before I'd never heard of this thing. I really hadn't.
Yeah, it makes you wonder too, like, is he allowed to get intelligence off of social media, like a True Social and maybe the Rumble Cloud and some of these other things, and disclose that to the president that way? Like in his position here? I don't know. There's something weird with it, but yeah, it's cool to see him in his orbit.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so Wednesday night, guys, we discussed basically the last half of the show, at least the last hour, the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Roger Ver. And I prefaced the whole thing. I'm going to do it again right now. I'm not trying to argue for or against Bitcoin personally here, even though you guys all know my stance on it. I'm not trying to argue whether or not somebody should even be paying taxes, let alone get arrested for not paying them and fleeing the country or whatever. I'm just trying to point out, or we've been trying to point out, this narrative op that is being played. Not sure what the motives are, but there is some sort of op, and it's based on the misrepresentations of both Tucker Carlson and Roger Ver in that interview. Like some very blatant and obvious, easy to look up misrepresentations of what is going on. And so I thought we'd be done with it. But then, Chris, you sent me an article from Robert Malone. And now he
put it out on his Substack. It might have been written by someone else, though. Oh,
yeah, it's by Aaron
Day.
So
it says by Aaron Day. Yeah, I don't know what that. I assume that means that Aaron Day wrote it and Malone's just posting it on his Substack.
No idea who Aaron Day is. Oh, he's from the Brownstone Institute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he says that in the piece, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it looks like he's an independent candidate for president. That's what it says on LinkedIn, if it's the same guy. But yeah, let's just read a little bit of this, Patrick.
Interesting. All right, so. And what's the source one more time? It's the Brownstone Institute?
It's Robert Malone Substack by Aaron Day of the Brownstone Institute.
Here we go. Robert Malone, if we dare. The U.S. government is attempting to imprison Roger Ver for 109 years for the crime of following his lawyer's advice. His case represents an unprecedented attack on attorney-client privilege that threatens everyone who relies on professional counsel.
Today, can you stop right there?
Yeah.
Because right off the bat, this is another pretty blatant misrepresentation. If you just go and read the indictment, it very much so reads like Robert Ver is colluding with his attorneys, if not lying to them and withholding stuff to commit a crime of not paying the taxes. The crime as it exists in our government. I'm not arguing, again, whether or not that's a good thing, but the way the indictment is put out, Roger Ver committed crimes, okay? Allegedly. Who knows how this is going to go through, but that is not what this guy is saying in this article. Right off the bat, he's misrepresenting the entire situation in an attempt to back Roger Ver. And so, again, this is weird. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Also, Malone is veering way outside of his own lane here. He's a microbiologist, supposedly. All right. Anyway, today, Ver sits silenced in Spain, unable to defend himself publicly, while prosecutors use his own lawyer's records against him, records that show his meticulous attempts to follow the law. This isn't just about cryptocurrency. It's about whether any American can safely consult legal counsel without fear of prosecution. If this precedent, he hasn't even told us what the hell's going on. He's speaking about the thing that he's supposed to be describing to us without actually describing it. So I feel like I'm not being told anything other than Robert Malone, of all people, telling me to make a moral judgment about something I don't even know what it is.
Well, if you guys remember the Durham trial or the Durham investigation and what he did, digging into Hillary Clinton, and he broke the attorney-client privilege veil. Like, Hillary Clinton was using Perkins Coie to commit crimes and launder the Russiagate stuff. Like, you can't just talk to your lawyers. Like, that is not a thing to commit crimes. And if that's what he did here, but they're again misrepresenting it and acting like this should never happen. Like, prosecutors should never be able to go after attorneys. Well, if you're doing shit to break the law, yeah, they can, and they do. And that's what happened here, according to the indictment. But again, misrepresented and not even, like you said, Patrick, getting to what actually went down. But keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So If this precedent stands, seeking professional advice could become evidence of criminality. Business owners, entrepreneurs, ordinary citizens who rely on lawyers and accountants will all be at risk. The time to act is now before this dangerous precedent becomes permanent. Imagine for a moment that you're an entrepreneur with an unwavering belief. State control over money isn't just wrong, it's a weapon. It fuels violence, breeds poverty, and crushes individual freedom. You've seen the wreckage it leaves behind and know that there has to be a better way. You know this because you've experienced the state's brutality firsthand. Blah, blah, blah. Just 22. You were imprisoned for 10 months in federal prison, etc.
We can skip down. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also strange that the author's using the second person there to like put us in the shoes of Roger Ver. The bulk of his interview with Tucker was telling this personal story of woe and how he should not be held blameworthy for any of this stuff. And I don't suggest that he should be. I don't think federal income taxes should exist, and I don't think anyone should have to pay them, nor do I think that they should be prosecuted for not paying them. We can put all that aside. He just didn't sound believable at all during the interview. And at one point he talked about how he got out of prison 6 months ago. This is his first interview since being in prison, and everything was so urgent, but it also just happens to come out on Tucker Carlson on a day when there were multiple other anti-Bitcoin stories dropping, attacks on Bitcoin on MSNBC, one from Cenk Uygur. We had the story about how Microsoft's shareholders decided not to have a Bitcoin reserve. There was just a bunch of anti-Bitcoin stuff dropping, signal in the mainstream media where there usually is none, and this interview on the same day. And man, I have one of the things that I'll do, regardless of whether or not I can judge any of the issues that are being presented, is you got to like just look and see, are these people really talking about something at a level of depth or not? And Tucker was basically trying to support this guy's credibility for the entire time while he told his personal story and then promoted a cryptocurrency called Zeno that he's involved with and his legal defense fund. And man, just to say one more thing about the background on this, when I hear a guy talk about how he was super wealthy in some tech field or something in his 20s, all that sounds like to me now is Intel asset.
That's all he could possibly be. That's all these people ever are.
Yeah. And so then when like you are basically prosecuting one of your assets, and that prosecution becomes the fortification for that person as a credible character in the info op. And then Tucker Carlson essentially spent the entire interview supporting his credibility. To me, it just seems like a big circle jerk of anti-Bitcoin nonsense from the Intel community.
Are you
and
sure?
His whole case is that in the Intel community took over Bitcoin. Doesn't talk about layer 2, doesn't talk about any way that might be true. And I'm actually open to that case, man. I'm a big Bitcoin proponent because I think it exhibits all the qualities of like a digital currency that we could actually shift to. And I know you have your problems with it, Patrick. I think that some of those problems maybe are alleviated on that second layer. And if you don't trust that second layer and the people developing for that second layer, like I would be interested in hearing that case, but Roger Ver didn't make that case.
No, he did not. He didn't do any of that. He wasn't participating in my opinion, a good faith dialogue on the topic of the scalability of the Bitcoin network. I think that what he really did was just throw some bombs without actually getting into, well, you have to get into the weeds and start talking about layer 2, which I have deep reservations about myself, but that's not the purpose of this discussion.
Sure.
Real quick, Chris, I've never heard of Zeno. Is it any chance he was talking about Zcoin?
He was saying Zeno.
No. Yeah. I need to look into that.
He was talking about a cryptocurrency project. I'll try to find it right now. Go ahead, John.
Can you just read down to just read these two paragraphs?
Okay, constitutional crisis. Robert Barnes exposes the Ver prosecution. Constitutional lawyer Robert Barnes recently delivered a chilling analysis that should terrify, I say, every American who relies on professional advice. The government isn't just prosecuting Roger Ver, they're attempting to criminalize the very act of following legal counsel. The unprecedented attack on attorney-client privilege. This isn't just about Bitcoin or taxes. Barnes explains in his detailed analysis, they're establishing that they can put you in prison and create a new tax policy through criminal law enforcement against individuals, even when you've followed expert advice to the letter.
Read the timeline, because then I want to show you guys something.
Right. Consider the timeline that Barnes lays bare. 2014, Ver faces the challenge of valuing Bitcoin for his exit tax. The largest Bitcoin exchange, Mt. Gox, had just collapsed. No clear valuation guidelines existed. The IRS itself admitted they couldn't determine how to classify Bitcoin. Even basic questions about cryptocurrency taxation remained unanswered. Ver's response, exactly what any prudent person would do. He hired top-tier attorneys. He consulted leading accountants. He documented every step of compliance. He followed expert guidance meticulously.
Okay, so that is what's being pushed. That's a story. I want to read from the indictment for a little bit, because this paints a different picture than what we're being told about Ver and how he operated. Because he did hire attorneys and he did hire appraisers, and it looked like he was planning to leave and he wanted to pay taxes, but every step along the way he was doing some shady fucking shit. Let's read through some of this, Patrick.
Certainly. From the indictment. In October 2012, defendant Ver provided to law firm 1 a purported list of his assets and proposed exit tax calculation. The list of assets did not include any Bitcoins. Second, defendant Ver engaged appraiser 1 in August 2012. During the course of appraiser 1's engagement, appraiser 1 prepared multiple draft valuations of memory dealers and Agile Star. Appraiser 1 repeatedly advised defendant Ver that the Bitcoins listed as assets on memory dealers and Agile Star's financial records should be valued at their current market price, and asked defendant Ver for the number of Bitcoins held by the companies. Third, in response, defendant Ver did not provide appraiser 1 with the total number of Bitcoins the companies held, and instead purported to provide the total number of Bitcoins in his possession. But the figures he provided were substantially lower than the number of Bitcoins attributable to him and his companies. For example, on or about April 12, 2013, defendant Ver told appraiser 1 that he controlled 25,000 Bitcoins when approximately 117,000 Bitcoins were attributable to him and his companies on that date, with approximately 70,000 held by defendant Ver's companies. Fourth, appraiser 1 did not finalize its valuations because on or about May 15, 2013, defendant Ver informed appraiser 1 that he was not going to be able to expatriate soon, and requested that appraiser 1 indefinitely delay its work. 5. Throughout this time, defendant Ver sought advice from appraiser 1, law firm 1, and memory dealers and Agile Star's outside return preparers about whether the best way to minimize his exit tax and post-expatriation tax liabilities would be to distribute memory dealers and Agile Star's Bitcoins to himself.
Keep going, just like 5 more paragraphs.
KB. 6. Also, throughout this time, defendant Ver continued to acquire Bitcoins. I just want to say how vaccinated this person writing this sounds.
Yep.
Referring to Bitcoin in the plural. I'm going to say it for the purpose of just demonstrating that. For his companies, and to invest Bitcoins in or to loan Bitcoins to Bitcoin-related startups.
Here, let's skip down to let's read this one and then the next one.
On or around April 14th, law firm 1 attempted to estimate defendant Ver's exit tax so that defendant Ver could make an estimated tax payment for 2014. On or about April 5th, 2014, return preparer 1, an employee at law firm 1, sent defendant Ver an estimation of defendant Ver's exit tax of 3,990,000 Federal Reserve notes, also known as United States dollars. A few days later, Return Preparer updated it, reducing the estimated exit tax to $3.4 million. The spreadsheet Return Preparer 1 used to compute that figure listed a total value of only $3 million for, quote, Bitcoins held in personal wallets. So the preparers are retard too. Listed defendant Ver as the 100% owner of the Bitcoins and noted that defendant Ver had provided the estimate of the Bitcoins' value. The spreadsheet did not list how many Bitcoins defendant Ver personally owned. Defendant Ver did not make any estimated tax payments for 2014.
And this goes on, and he owes like $50 million. Like that's
he owes nothing.
Well, I know, but in the indictment, they're saying he owes $50 million.
Okay, fair enough.
And so again, the way even Robert Barnes is saying this, he's misrepresenting what's going on here. I don't understand the motive behind this. It can't all be purely anti-Bitcoin, but it
could be.
Tucker Carlson was.
That one could be purely anti-Bitcoin. Any kind of anti-Bitcoin stuff that tanks the price of Bitcoin, bam, cheap Bitcoin. Because there are a lot of people in a lot of positions of enormous financial power who are probably saying something like, oh shit, I'm not holding enough of this stuff right now.
Yeah. I don't know. But I just wanted to read a little bit out of that because it is not what is the story being told about him. Thank you for reading that, Patrick.
The cryptocurrency, Zano, Z-A-N-O, Patrick, I don't know if you want to look at any of that and see if
look into it.
Interests you. He's an investor. It goes on Monero. Here's.
By the way, I don't really understand fully exactly how privacy coins reach consensus. It is a very sophisticated thing. Bitcoin is public as fuck. Doing business on Bitcoin, you're doing it in public. It's not a bad thing. And I'm very pro privacy coins if they're actually private, but I haven't gotten to the bottom of that yet.
So yeah, in the interview, he was saying that was one of the main problems, and that the lack of privacy is a result of the intelligence community's hijacking Bitcoin. That's the case that he made.
Hijacking Bitcoin by interview that made no fucking sense.
I know.
Bitcoin was designed to be a public ledger in the white paper. So I don't know what this dude is on about saying the intelligence community took away the privacy part. What?
By deleting posts on Reddit. You can't leave that part out.
I'm open to stuff, you know. I have been known to listen when people say the intelligence community did it. And Ver could be telling the truth for all I know. But when he comes out and says that the intelligence community made Bitcoin not private, I probably need to listen to him again. Maybe I'm not characterizing his argument properly, but that's just not the case. It's not the case. It's always been a public ledger, and it was designed to be such. Perhaps Ver is arguing, hey, if the Bitcoin core team had just done the right thing, increased the block size, added privacy features to Bitcoin, then everything would be great right now. Maybe that's what he means by that, but I just don't know.
Yeah. The people in the chat asking, like, why are we talking about this? It's because this is a clear narrative op, as we've said, and the players involved in the narrative op. This is interesting. Like, this is a very notable narrative op for some reason, and we're just kind of trying to talk it out and wrap our heads around it. That's why we've talked about it.
Well, so the other thing that's interesting about it, and that article, I don't think we quite got there yet, but it says quite clearly that that Ver is one of the funders of the Brownstone Institute. And so the Brownstone Institute was like the based and red-pilled controlled opposition elite level info op that disputed the COVID narrative about lockdowns and whatnot.
Yeah, right here. What few people knew or know, what I didn't even know until after becoming a Brownstone Fellow, is that none of this would have been possible without Roger Ver. As Brownstone's founding donor and board member, Roger's support was crucial in getting this beacon of truth off the ground.
What the fuck? Dude, This guy, if I'm not mistaken, so this guy's got something like 70,000 Bitcoin.
He did back then. I don't know if he does anymore. He's having liquidity issues according to the lawsuit. He's currently being sued by GGCI or whatever, or GGCI.
Because as of now, 70,000 Bitcoin is $7 billion. Do I have that right?
Sounds about right. I'm curious who else is in Brownstone.
Got that kind of
I
money,
can show it to you right now, John. I got it. Go ahead.
If you got that kind of money, you can fend off the feds just fine. And he's in Spain. He can bail, and he can pay an exit tax in his sleep. I'm leaning towards this guy is OG CIA. He has always been CIA. His entire friggin' job has been just to be a clown on stage performing for all of us peasants.
It seemed like a performance. It did seem like a performance on Tucker Carlson. That did not seem authentic. He seemed to have his story down. You know, when we watch normie politicians go about campaigning, it's always about their personal story and then some slogans about the key issues of the day. And that's what made Donald Trump so different, is that he would actually have in-depth discussion about what the realities were with particular issues, what the principles at stake were. He would say some things that people weren't prepared to hear, and then the public would discuss them. And then we have these other traditional figures in politics and elsewhere who just kind of give their spiel, and that's it. And that's what it seemed like he was doing. Seemed like the entire story was made up.
Yeah.
And it was a very short interview. It was like 35 minutes.
40 minutes, exactly.
With commercials.
Just short, right? With commercials. And that is still short for Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shortest Tucker interview I ever heard of.
Brett Weinstein's on there, Jeffrey Tucker. None of the other names are really sticking out. Maybe Harvey Risch. I don't know why, though.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and there's some good organizations there that they work with. But man, you know, it's always tough with some of these organizations that like will do the COVID analysis, but assume that all of it's real and that the data coming in is something that should be, you know, poured over and analyzed in every possible way. Like if the data is fake and the pandemic's not real, and you're analyzing all of that as the brave people standing up to the tyranny, you're part of the tyranny.
And here's check this out. Jeffrey Tucker shilling Roger Ver's new book back in April.
Yeah.
From Jeff Tucker, I've learned this much about researching and writing in the last 4 years. Sometimes it is up to one person to step up at the right time. There is no automatic mechanism operational in this world that forces truth to the top. Roger Ver's new book is a case in point. This story would not likely be otherwise told. I mean, you could just tell this guy's full of shit. You know, it's a shame too, because this is a discussion that really does need to be had. We need to talk about our money and whether or not this particular money serves the purpose we think it serves. So Jeffrey Tucker is part of this Brownstone clown show.
He's the president of it.
Yeah.
How nice.
And here's Aaron Day again. Why Roger Ver deserves a presidential pardon.
I mean, I'll pardon anybody who the IRS is going after. Give me his fucking pardon.
Oh wait, this is the same article, I think.
Maybe.
But they just put out and this is from November 8th. And so that now they have Malone putting it out.
By the way, did y'all know that the privacy argument, John McAfee was making that argument, screaming at the top of his lungs that Bitcoin was going to go to zero because there's no privacy on it, and that nobody uses Bitcoin for commerce, they use Monero. So what Ver is saying right now is something that John McAfee was screeching in an interview obviously before his so-called death. But
isn't that interesting? And Patrick, I don't mean to cut you off, but but I heard that the jail he was imprisoned at was the same as McAfee's, or was McAfee on Majorca?
Well, I don't
apparently
know,
he's in
because I can't find out which prison or holding facility or detention center that Ver was at. Now, I can tell you right now that the Bryans 2 Penitentiary Center near Barcelona, I don't know where Roger is. So I'd have to, actually do real research rather than just asking ChatGPT.
I'll see what I can find out.
But what if we're seeing a clown operation? It's just tough, because at least in the case of John McAfee, remember John McAfee at the beginning was talking about Bitcoin was going to $1 million. And he said Bitcoin's going to $1 million before the end of some year, or if it doesn't, I will, and I quote, eat my own dick on national television. That's what he said.
That?
He did. He didn't actually do it, or so I'm told. So anyway, and then a few years later, you have McAfee fairly condescendingly telling an interviewer, "You're crazy if you think Bitcoin is not going to zero. My God, how do you not understand this, et cetera, et cetera. Bitcoin doesn't have privacy." This is a very old conversation. It's a public ledger. There are pros and cons to that.
Looks like it doesn't say where he's in prison.
It's tricky, right?
Anyway.
He's a clown operative. He is in prison wherever he told us he was in prison. Bullshit. He didn't do a single day. He's not being persecuted. He's an actor.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep my eye on this story, because the more people that start promoting the false version of this, the more interesting it's going to get. And so I'm curious to see how far this expands and the purpose behind it, because he by no means seems like a good dude. And so I don't understand the weird narrative in play here. But let's go to the rants. What do you guys think? By the way, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, everybody. We haven't shilled for likes one time, and we got another sponsor of tonight's show, I think.
We do indeed. My friends, I want to read you a little review that I got from my friend David Becker. He wrote a 5-star review for the product Wellness Extra Capsules. The review is entitled, "How Do We Turn Her Off?" My wife, Carrie, has some type of ADD, but didn't want to use any pharma poisons. She always had trouble staying on task and not getting distracted. She also had trouble articulating her thoughts. Within days of trying Wellness Extra, she was a new woman. What a difference. She has far more energy since she is no longer mentally drained and has been getting much more accomplished. In fact, she's become so motivated that we really need to find a shut-off switch soon. I want you to be able to try this amazing product. So go to epicminerals.net, use promo code Badlands, and for a very limited time, till Monday at midnight, buy 2, get 1 free. That's right. Buy 2, get 1 free for all products at epicminerals.net, including the amazing Wellness Extra capsules. And if you order right now, it's very, very likely you're going to get it in time for Christmas. Give it as a gift. epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands for an extra 10% off. And every time you use that promo code, 25% of the sale goes directly into an account that pays Badlanders' salaries. epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands.
Awesome. All right. Hit the thumbs up, everybody. Patrick, do you have the rants pulled up by chance?
I do have them pulled up, but I did it late as usual. So the first rant I have is the one from Micro Tool Maker.
Okay. There was Cynthia67 who said Johnny Mathis put out tons of Christmas albums. And then Crooked Halo Angel says, I hit the thumbs up only because Chris exclaimed, "Make the Yuletide gay." Love it. And then it's Micro Tool Maker.
Wonderful. $117 from Micro
Wow.
Tool Maker. Thank you so much for that. This Badlands group represent the smartest people in the world, just happy to be a part. Thank you so much for pointing that out, Micro Tool. $10, J Drake 83. Hey John, I sent you an email more Gandalf pipes. Also, Van Jones sucks at cry acting.
Yes, John.
He was okay.
Jonathan, I got your email. I will respond to you probably tomorrow. So I've just been a little busy this weekend, but I will get back to you, man.
$20, Terry A. So, adrenochrome and vodka don't prevent hip fractures. Go figure. Nice. $5, Matrix Break. MAGA, thank you for your service, Badlands and Co. Thank you so much. $5, Nobody 777. Maybe nothing, but commentators compared the Navy quarterback to Roger Staubach. I don't know anything about American football anymore, but
he was the superstar quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys in the 70s.
Gotcha.
When they were America's team.
Do you know anything about European football?
No,
you said that.
I don't know anything about anything but basketball and basically 80s and 90s Houston Rockets.
Cool.
$5, Valseco 16. When does Space Force get a team?
Great question. The jerseys would be sick.
Their team is the drones.
Yeah.
$1, Keith O'Higgins. The Coast Guard had a team, but they sucked so bad, like the Cleveland Browns, they had to relocate. Haha. $2, Nobody 777. Final score: 31 Navy, 13. Oh wait, 31 Navy.
Navy.
Final score: 31 and 13 Navy. 44 Bush Jr., 44 President. Got it. Okay.
4-4.
$5 makes sense to me too. Gitmo is the building that used to be the YMCA. That makes it more interesting if that's the case. I don't know if it is. Okay.
I also saw someone post earlier, and it might have been an answer from Grok or something, but that one of the theories was that YMCA would be one of the songs played to torture inmates at Gitmo. Like, you know, when they're kept up all night with the song over and over again, YMCA.
Yes, man. I just... Are we close to the freaking roundup of these crooks? $5 makes sense to me too. Sorry, the land the YMCA building was on is Gitmo. Okay. $5, Nobody 777. Search Palestine. WikiLeaks provides clues to your supposition. The trade route stuff, Chris, most likely.
Did that say search what?
Search Palestine. So it's pretty generalized search. But WikiLeaks, okay, so he's saying search Palestine in the WikiLeaks.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
$20, 1027 JS. Hey, supporting DPH. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
$1. Keith O'Higgins. Could Funkmaster George Clinton be driving the mothership or just a Joe Rogan club?
Nice misread.
Thank you. $5. RPRN. Jersey Futures on X posted the drones are nuke sniffers. Focused on the ports. He has experience with these and his account was scrubbed. Thank you very much. $1 PJW. Cujo had some good information on his show tonight. HR 8610 is trying to take more power. And there is a link here to a thing. John, you can grab that.
Thank you.
$10. Aeolus. The drones are military scanning for radioactive materials, a dirty bomb, perhaps. Think sum of all fears. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Hey, sum of all fears. Chris, you called that. Or possibly John, you called that. One of you two called it. Okay. $5. Kitty Kubiak. Mayorkas wants to use this event to keep people from using drones to surveil their own neighborhoods like they want to take our guns. I don't know. He seems to say that he's completely powerless to do anything about drones.
Yeah, he wants more authority from Congress to be able to shoot them down.
Or to do anything at all, to shine a spotlight on them, apparently.
Like, can you imagine the balls it takes to say that you're the head of the Department of Homeland Security and you can't secure the homeland by shooting drones down?
It's really the only thing about these people that is impressive. It's their friggin' balls, which possess their own gravitational pull. All right. Nice. All right. And then $1 Keith O'Higgins. Monkey work does great. on all government flight plans, military and private as well. I haven't paid any attention to Monkey Works, and I need to. Those airborne planes and drones are called sniffers and fly daily. Biden's only military advancement is more sniffers. Biden himself is known to be a sniffer. $5 makes sense to me too. The drones may be holograms. No infrared detection. They appear and disappear. No one sees where they come from or land. They could be freaking holograms. They could not even, there might not even freaking be any. That's the other part. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Thanks for telling me that clip was sped up, John. I thought ABC hired a black female Ben Shapiro. $5, Rambo and Friends. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers right back to you, Joe.
Thanks,
Thank
Rambo.
you so much. $4, Team Smooth. Ponder points. 1, how could this apply to unrealized capital gain? It's, stolen. 2, during interview, he referenced he created Bitcoin Cash, forked off. Confusing. It means he changed Bitcoin's protocols and made his own based on Bitcoin. It's called a hard fork, and anybody can create one too.
If you get enough people on board, right?
I think you could just make one in your garage. It's just the Bitcoin blockchain, except now you're making a copy of it and saying, okay, now this is my Bitcoin blockchain and it's new. I'm calling it Bitcoin Cash. And every block past this point is new and part of my new currency.
Tulip Bloom Chain.
Tulip Bloom Chain. Fuck yeah. We're doing it.
Awesome. And that is all the rants, I believe.
I believe so too.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Chris Patrick, it was a pleasure as always. And we are going to go out with the Black Guys singing White Christmas.
Epic.
We'll see y'all next weekend.
Night, guys.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where those treetops listen and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. The snow. So then I am dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days, may your days, may your days be merry and bright. And may all your Christmases be white.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and the children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write.
May those days, may your days be merry and bright. And may all your Christmases